Welcome everyone, and thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for being patient, and we will promptly get this meeting going. So we will start with roll call.
Okay, Mrs. Volhan?
Here.
Dr. Schulman?
Here.
Mrs. Steiner?
Here.
Ms. Gorst?
Present.
Ms. Tremelli?
Here.
Mr. Euclides?
Here.
Mr. Conrady?
Here.
For the Pledge of Allegiance, I think I'm going to call on someone who has been a big support for this school district and this board to lead us. Jenny?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We will move on to approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting held on July 12th, 2023. What is your desire regarding those minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions regarding those? Seeing none, we'll take the roll.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli?
Yes.
Mr. Euclides?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Volhan?
Yes. And next is approval of the accounts for the month of July. What is your desire regarding those?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And any questions before we vote on that?
No.
Then we will go ahead and take the roll.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli?
Yes.
Mr. Euclides?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Volhan?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any district recognitions?
We do have a recognition that I would like to announce. We don't have anyone here to formally introduce as part of this, but we did receive notification just in the last week with the WIAA releasing the list of schools that will be receiving the Award of Excellence for the 2022-23 school year, and Marshfield High School is one of them. So just a little bit behind the award. Again, this is called the WIAA Award of Excellence. The award promotes and recognizes the efforts and achievements of schools in the areas of sportsmanship, ethics, integrity, leadership, character, and accomplishment. And Marshfield High School is one of just 30 schools around the state that received and were selected to receive this award for the past school year. Marshfield High School has now received this award in each of the past 4 consecutive school years, so I wanted to be sure to take this opportunity to extend great thanks and congratulations to our student athletes, our coaches, and our athletic department staff at Marshfield High School for this great honor and accomplishment.
That's wonderful, because that's what, like 6 or 7% of the schools in the state.
Yeah, very small amount, so it's a nice recognition.
Very nice. Okay, we will move on to communication from the public. And the board values all comments and will respectfully consider this input in decision making. However, it is not the intent of the public comment portion of the meeting for the board to enter into a debate or discussion of an issue. Comments in regard to personnel matters are not allowed. Information presented cannot result in immediate action due to the open meetings law, but could precipitate a future agenda item. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and Jenny Haig will keep track of that time and give a 2.5-minute warning. So with that said, I do have some pink slips filled out for people who would like to comment. If there's anyone else that would like to but did not fill one out, please feel free to get one at the back and just kind of bring it up the side here and we'll fit you in. So I would like to start with Kathleen Mahoney.
Can you give her your microphone?
Okay.
Welcome. Thanks.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kathleen Mahoney. I'm Marshfield Middle School English teacher and president of Marshfield Teachers Association. Today, I wanted to highlight the role of reflection, community values, setting priorities, and empowerment in our district. Your educators over the summer spend quite a bit of time and effort reflecting upon their classroom curriculum and programs. MTA has had like a listening campaign where we're reaching out to as many staff one-on-one as we can. And we're hearing that teachers are excited to try to tweak or keep doing for this school year. Your educators are constantly looking for large and small changes to improve student engagement, belonging, and learning. Although many educators talked about the things they could control in their classrooms, we also reflected on how the community and society at large can sometimes impact our love for teaching. So we're reflecting on what are our needs and priorities this school year. We don't need the school board to set policy and procedures that micromanage our classroom interactions, our curriculum, our day-to-day interactions, or our leaders. We do need a school board that empowers our administrators to take risks and empowers our administrators to feel supported in setting a strong direction. Staff need administrators to feel empowered so that they can in turn empower us and we can empower our students. Empowering not only means giving our students the skills and content to earn a sustainable employment, but it also means that students can be lifelong learners who can meaningfully engage in the world and communities around them. Creating a culture of empowerment also means creating a culture of support at every level. Mistakes are inevitable, but we can create a community that is supportive during mistakes and difficult times. I'm not saying this is a critique, but I am trying to be direct that we need to be intentional about building community, support, and empowerment at every level. What we teach in our classrooms is not in isolation from community or values. To be our most effective, we need to work together, to define our core values and priorities, to learn new practices, to be vulnerable and honest, and to build our community within and out of our classrooms. Again, your educators are currently reflecting on what type of classroom community they'll be creating this year. They want to empower kids to communicate, collaborate, problem solve, think creatively, think critically, navigate a changing world, act responsibly, and nurture their natural curiosity. This takes planning, risk, mistakes, and vulnerability. And it's not created in a day or by just one training. This year, I invite you to find ways to focus on empowering and supporting administrators, staff, and students. Talk with us about our values and vision, celebrate our risk, help us prioritize the most important ways to improve, and help us feel connected as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And Nicole Johnson.
I know I'm addressing the school board here tonight, but I know many more at home and in the room are listening. We are getting ready to start school, start looking at possibly electing new people to the board, and hopefully a new referendum. I think we as adults need to keep in mind to do a good job at being kind and seeking peace. When we share our opinions, can we do so kindly? Can we remember to talk about the issues and not speak harshly of the people? Can we remember that we all want our children to grow up and do better than we have? To be able to stand on our shoulders and reach for the stars. It's hard for them to stand on our shoulders if we're too busy yelling at each other and stooping lower and lower. I feel that we can work better together, use our energy to lift up the school district of Marshfield. I think we can work better together using our energy to lift up the school district of Marshfield than to shout down at each other. Since the last school board meeting, I had the opportunity to put these thoughts into actions. I met with someone that I will admit I was intimidated by. I knew this person was strong, and that I feared that their beliefs were so different from mine that I actually told her while shaking that I thought we didn't have anything in common. We ended up talking for 3 hours and had more shared perspective than I could have imagined. I don't know what the future holds, but my hope is that from this time together, she and I at least have shared respect. I don't know, I think we both represent very different ideologies, but no longer am I afraid of the anger and of the unknown that would boil up inside of me when I would think of what she represented to me. Because we took the time to get to know each other as human beings, and I think that's a lesson for all of us, every day, and especially heading into elections. We need to be kind and remember that our children will listen. We need to teach them how to be respectful of each other and how to seek peace and be kind. Also, I just want to say that I love that the Let's Keep Talking series happened. When I saw that in my stuff, I was very happy about that, and I just wanted to say thanks to everyone involved making that happen, and I hope that continues, those kind of things. Thank you. Was I the end? It's okay.
Okay. Then we will move on to correspondence. Do we have a correspondence folder? There is not one. And announcements. The superintendent's.
We have a few items, I might turn back on, some items to cover today. Obviously, the start of the school year is right around the corner. And it is with great excitement that we look forward to having and welcoming our students and families back at the start of the 2023-24 school year on Tuesday, September 5th. That's the starting point to let everybody know that we start after Labor Day with students this particular school year. We've got a lot of activities and things going on in the coming weeks, so that's why we wanted to do a quick rundown on what those dates and times are by grade levels, beginning with at the elementary school level. All Marshfield Public Elementary School open houses for students and parents and families will be held on Tuesday, August 29th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Middle school schedule pickup for 7th graders will be held. And it's hard to believe that this is next week already, right, Mr. Niederberg?
Monday.
On Monday, August 14th, beginning at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and running until 6 p.m. that evening on Monday, 7th graders at the middle school level can come to the middle school for scheduled pickup. The next day, on August 15th, beginning at 7 a.m. and running until 2 p.m., a little bit more narrow window for our kids that have been there before, our returning 8th graders. That's their time for scheduled pickup. The day after that, Wednesday, August 16th, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., that time is available for 7th and 8th grade students to pick up their schedules if they were not able to attend either of their designated days, the Monday or Tuesday immediately before that. And then finally, for the middle school meet and greet will be held on August 30th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. At the high school, registration schedule pickup will be running during regular hours of 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on the following dates based upon grade levels. So Monday, August 14th is for seniors, but again, keep in mind that if there are siblings of seniors at the lower grade levels, they're able to come along with their senior level sibling to pick up or complete their registration and pick up their schedules as well. Tuesday, August 15th is designated for juniors along with their younger siblings. And then finally on Wednesday, September 16th, sophomores and freshmen and anyone else that didn't get there on Monday and Tuesday is able to come on Wednesday, August 16th. Again, each one of those days that runs between 7:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Freshman orientation and fall meet and greet for all students, parents, and families for grades 9 through 12 will take place at Marshfield High School on Wednesday, August 23rd from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And for everything that I just ran through, if you didn't track on that or remember that, please keep in mind all of this is listed on our school district website at www.marshfieldschools.org. So that's a rundown on events that we have with scheduled pickups, open houses, and things of that nature. One additional item that I wanted to work into the superintendent's report is that the school district, in partnership with the Marshfield Area Coalition for Youth, as well as Everett Rail Marshall Public Library, is coordinating a series of events titled Let's Keep Talking, a parent and caregiver series. These events will involve local experts presenting on various topics, and parents and caregivers as well having the opportunity to ask questions, interact, obtain information, and again, just dive into the list of topics that we're going to be running over a series of these meetings held at the Marshall Public Library. Presentations will take place the third Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. in the J.P. Adler Room at the Everett Rail Marshfield Public Library. All community members, as well as students, parents, families, are invited to attend these events. Detailed information about the series, including the dates and topics, is available again on our district website. I've got a paper print copy of the Let's Keep Talking series, and for our parents that are out there and listening, please be advised that tomorrow, we're going to be having, it's tomorrow, correct, Jenny? Tomorrow, we're going to have the Student Services newsletter go out through our Skylar email system. So all parents will be getting an email sent tomorrow with our first edition of the Student Services newsletter for this current school year. And within that newsletter, it does outline this series of events. And that email will include this handout showing the events that are scheduled for August 15th, September 19th, October 17th, November 21st, and December 19th. Again, those are the third Tuesdays between August and December. And this handout attached to that email will give a listing of what the topics are and a summary about what those topics are that will be covered. So I really want to thank our Student Services Department and Joanne Greenlow in particular for her involvement with Macy and in serving as our mental health navigator. All of the work that our student services staff are doing to help work with our students and parents to support them with this parent and caregiver series.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And important information for our school district families, parents, guardians, students, so look it up on the website if you didn't catch your dates and times. Thank you. We will move on to acceptance of gifts, and we do have a handful of those we are blessed with. The first would be $3,755 for the girls' basketball program, $100 for Marshfield Lions Club for the Pathway Partners program, $100 from Barb Barkowiak for the Food Service Angel Fund, $95 from Justin Rusky for the Angel Fund, 10 passes valued at $300 from the Escape Room in Marshfield for the high school PBIS program. What is your desire regarding these gifts?
To accept with great thanks.
Second.
Second, so we have a motion and a second to accept them with great thanks. Would you take the roll on it?
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Okay, then we will head into committee reports, and we'll start with curriculum and instruction. And curriculum and instruction did meet on July 26th. We first looked at the public recognition of high school rank, and there was an outline of a proposed process presented to us by the C&I department on how we could get more information and look at that in depth. And as we looked at this, it's quite exhaustive. The recommendation was that if we make a change, it would have to start with an incoming class of freshmen, but actually you even have to look back at 8th graders, because we have dual we have classes at 8th grade that can count for a higher weight that can be added to the weight to that grade point average at the high school. So because of that, if a kid or a family is trying to plan all this out, it actually starts way back when they're enrolling in 8th grade. So after we looked at this exhaustive list for gaining information, the thought was that maybe we could just get some preliminary information before putting all this effort into it. I don't think there's anyone that had a strong feeling that they would be upset no matter which way this topic goes. So to put that much of staff effort into it seemed a little over the top, but we'll see where that goes. So they're going to be looking into that. And they will report back to the committee. As far as new business, we had an update on both 4K, which is 4-year-old kindergarten, and 5K, 5-year-old kindergarten. Our numbers and patterns were discussed. There was a lot of data on classes that are lower enrollment this year, others that are higher, and some of it is different than previous years for those same schools. And it is a situation where we're still going to be offering the 12 sections for this coming school year, but just keep an eye on that data going forward since the numbers were down a little. And we couldn't, if you look at the data, you can't pinpoint any particular cause or pattern. So it wasn't anything, it could just be a blip. So we don't know. Having said that, we also talked about the professional development for the teachers in 4K and 5K, and our 4K teachers were included in offerings in the area of literacy and behavior regulation. And the 5K, they also looked at practical tips and strategies for developmental readiness, just to get kids ready to keep going forward in our school system. So we moved on to the annual bullying report, and again, the numbers vary by school, and that can happen because of just a few kids or families, and there's always an investigation to see if it was founded or not. And even though it may not fit the definition of a bullying situation, it may still be something administration and teachers address. In other words, if there are 2 kids involved, that type of thing. So we did quite a bit of a look at that. And that was pretty much it for CNI.
All right, thanks, Francis.
Then we will move on. Employee relations did not meet this month.
Correct.
And finance did not meet this month. And facility safety and transportation did not meet this month. And policy legislation did not meet this month because
Yay.
of the summer months, you know, and all there, where people are on vacations and there's not as much going on. So that is the reason for that. Now we want to move on to the safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan. And this is according to the U.S. Department of Education requirements that there be a 6-month review every 6 months of that plan. And at that, I will turn it over to Dr. Christensen.
Yeah, just a little bit more. This is a report that the U.S. Department of Education requires in conjunction with specifically the ESSER III funding that we've received. And that does involve, even though the pandemic is officially over, the requirement is that the plan has to be reviewed every 6 months. The ESSER III funding runs through September of next school year, 2024. So we've been on a cycle of August and February are the times of year when we do a check-in. So we're going to have 2 more check-ins, even though there really weren't much of any updates. We did, if you look at the report, just try to reaffirm some of those sorts of details. But we're on a required timeline, and that's why it was on the agenda. So there is a link at the end of that. This report is posted on the district website, as well as with a link at the end of it, where we are able to take feedback from the public if they have any on recommendations on how to spend our ESSER III funding dollars. That's the quick rundown. Are there any questions?
So we're not returning to anything that happened during the pandemic. We're moving forward with school as we normally have it. And feel free to look at the report at your leisure. Thank you. Okay. Then we will move on to approval of retirements. So I will let Mr. Dickides.
August is always a busy month with the comings and goings of personnel. First of all, approval of retirements. As an individual board member, I move that we accept the retirements of the following: Linda Knetter, food service cafeteria work at middle school; Donna Leaders or Lighters, teacher assistant, library media center at Nasonville; Patty Rotard, food service cafeteria worker at Madison; and Deborah Zier, food service preparation cook at the high school. Again, that's a motion. We'll need a second for that to approve
Second.
those.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve these 4 retirements. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take the vote.
Mr. Melly?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Okay, we will move on to approval of resignations.
Again, as an individual board member, I move that we approve the resignation of the following: Sarah Kressel, clerical receptionist at the high school; Tiffany Lenz, clerical position as principal to the secretary at Grant; Mike Messerly, teacher, social studies driver education at the high school; and Kara Rank, teacher assistant, a bus aide, special education support staff at Grant.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And
I heard Sam.
Yes. And any questions or comments regarding those resignations? Okay, then we'll take the vote.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mr. Melly?
Yes.
And employment of new personnel. Again, as an individual board member, I move to approve the employment of Hannah Boulder, teacher of physical education at the high school, replacing Jeff Bell; Kaylee Fry, teacher assistant, regular education at the middle school, replacing Karen Sim; Julie Grimm, health assistant at Madison School, replacing Diane Waldhauser; Kaylee Harless, a clerical attendance secretary at the high school, replacing Sarah Kressel; Elizabeth K. Hart, clerical for the principal, secretary for the principal at Grant School, that's replacing Tiffany Lenz; Carla Keenhole, teacher assistant, library media center at Grant, replacing Sharon Byrice; Cassidy Landwehr, custodian, second shift at Lincoln School, replacing Austin Haslow; Georgia Thompson, teacher of art at Washington, Lincoln, and Madison, replacing Ashley Van Driel; Ron Todrick, teacher assistant, regular education, middle school, replacing Ashley Hyman; and finally, Brittany Yadon, Y-A-D-O-N, excuse my pronunciation or lack thereof, teacher of music at Grant School, replacing Allison Cunard. Need a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments about these new employees and their approval? Seeing none, we'll take the vote.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mr. Melly?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Thank you. We will move on to the Mental Health Consortium memorandums of understanding. And just for background, we do have services in the community that ask to be able to see their clients within our buildings so that it cuts down on absence from school and makes it easier to set up those times. And sometimes if we don't do that, the families may have transportation problems also besides time constraints. So that's what these are about. And they do their services separate from the school. They take care of their own liability. They fulfill their own licensing requirements and requirements regarding confidentiality and all those things. And the school district just provides the space. So having said that,
I move to approve.
we have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second, that's fine. The 2023 to 2024 Mental Health Consortium memorandums of understanding. Any questions or comments regarding those?
Question of clarification. We don't make referrals to these agencies, these are their own clients.
Correct.
And we
And
just
no
make
monetary,
provision. They don't rent from us,
correct.
okay? And then the other thing is, are they required to do background checks for us?
Yes.
Okay. Because I didn't notice it in there, but.
Anything else?
They do have insurance, right?
Yes, she must.
Yes. Okay, then we'll go ahead and take the roll.
Mrs. Bohan,
Yes.
Dr. Schulman,
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Forrest,
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli,
Yes.
Ms. Giacchides.
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Okay, then we will move on to approval of the Healthy Smiles Wood County, which is a program that Wood County provides to students in certain grades. They hit, I think it's like 3 or 4 grades each year. And it's the same grades each year, so that as kids come through, they can get CLNs and referrals to dentists if they need to. And parents can opt out, but they provide this service at the school setting so that, again, it's easy to access. We need a motion to approve, if you would like to, for the Healthy Smiles Wood County program.
So moved?
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you make a motion?
Any questions?
And
Sam
Mark.
and Mark. Any questions regarding that?
It makes reference to policy 9505, and when you read that policy, it says that they will adhere to all rules and regulations as set forth under this policy. There are no rules and regulations set forth under the policy.
Well, it would be things like if we had, let's say there was a fire drill or something, or a lockdown, or whatever, heaven forbid, or something else went on within the building. They would be subject to whatever we needed to do under that circumstance.
And I think we had this discussion before that the policy is referred to our policy as a whole. It's not nothing to be listed underneath that. It's just that they need to adhere to district policy.
So if something comes up, we supersede, that we're not going to let them just carry on in the face of what we need to do as a district during that time frame.
So when it's adhering to all rules and regulations as set forth under this policy, not policy 9505, but all school board policy?
Yeah.
Fine.
Anything else? Then we'll go ahead and take the vote.
Dr. Schulman,
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Forrest,
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli,
Yes.
Ms. Giacchides.
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan.
Yes. And the approval of the Personal Development Center pursuant to policy 9505 is a little bit different than the memorandums of understanding. It's where they make their services available during the school day, during certain hours. Of course, that's all confidential, and kids just know it's available.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. And any questions regarding that? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Forrest,
Yes.
Ms. Tremelli,
Yes.
Ms. Giacchides.
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan.
Yes.
Dr. Schulman.
Yes.
Okay. And next, we have approval for travel to Tennessee in March of 2024 with expenses for teacher chaperones covered by the fees collected by the participating pupils pursuant to travel agency guidelines. And this is a trip opportunity for our music students to perform in Nashville, as well as see the music industry there, et cetera. And before moving forward with the specifics of the trip and contracts for all that, they are asking for board approval. So what is your desire regarding that?
I would move that we approve with great thanks for the nice, healthy notice ahead of time before the actual event.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm assuming these are all subject to the appropriate background checks and
Correct.
receiving copies of the insurance from that company?
Correct. Yes.
comment. I would like to see the item is listed as approval for travel to Tennessee. The actual item here in our agenda doesn't list that it's for music department trip personnel. I'd like to see that somehow added to that approval.
I do have one more question. Our personnel, are they receiving any extra payment from the district for this?
No.
And can we just consent to add that it's for the music trip to Tennessee?
It's just the wording of the item doesn't.
Right.
I realize there's an addendum, you can look it up, but I'd like to see it listed under G.
On the agenda.
On the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for future.
Do you want to make a motion
To
to
amend it
amend
to-
the item to specify? the
I
music
will make a
department?
motion to amend the item that is specified in G to include the fact that it's a music department trip.
To Tennessee.
And do we have
I'll
a,
second that.
okay. And let's go ahead and take the roll on that to amend to include that it's a music department trip to Tennessee, student trip. Okay.
Okay. Ms. Gorst,
Yes.
Ms. Tramelli,
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis.
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan.
Yes.
Dr. Schulman.
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner.
Yes.
Ms. Gorst. Very close.
I'll shake myself twice.
We need a double positive approval.
So now are there any more questions before we vote on the amended motion? See, now we'll take the roll call on the amended motion.
Okay. Ms. Tramelli.
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis.
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan.
Yes.
Dr. Schulman.
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner.
Yes.
Ms. Gorst.
Yes, you anticipated that answer last time.
And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
And all in favor say
Aye.
aye. Thank you, everyone.
Helps when nobody has any preference. Helps when nobody has.
Gotta get